The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on May 16th, 2023.
Good morning and welcome to Business Matters, brought to you by Mokulele Airlines. Now here's your host, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam.
Hey, good morning, Gary. How are you today?
I'm very good.
Oh, glad to hear it. Well, welcome everyone to Business Matters Radio Show. I'm your host, Pamela Toompop, president of the Maui Chamber of Commerce, and it's another beautiful day in Maui Nei. Today we're going to talk with Councilmember Tom Cook about water, infrastructure, and his first few months as a council member. We're going to get an update on Lokahi Pacific and their many programs, and learn about a chamber member called Butterfield Testing Solutions and what exactly it is that they do to help other businesses. But we're going to first kick off this morning by welcoming Council Member Tom Cook. He was elected to the Maui County Council in 2002 and represents the South Maui residency. He currently serves as chair of the County Council's Water and Infrastructure Committee and vice chair of the Housing and Land Use Committee. He has a background in building and construction, and Tom has long understood the unique challenges in undertaking construction projects in Maui County, being a former contractor himself. So we look forward to getting an update. Good morning, Tom, and how are you today?
Good morning, Pam. I am excellent. It's another beautiful sunny day and sun rising day in Kihei, and I'm happy to be on your show today. Thanks for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to us talking story.
Oh, thank you. I know it's a busy time for you because we're in the middle of the budget. So we appreciate you taking some time this morning to be with us and share. So as you've got a great committee that you're chairing, which is on water and infrastructure. What are your priorities in this area?
I'm really excited to be the chair of water and infrastructure, being in order for us to have affordable housing, which is something that I'm very passionate about, we need to be able to keep our infrastructure in tune so that our community can grow and balance. So, as far as the chair of infrastructure and water, capital improvement projects need to be managed, and basically, I'm really excited to be able to work with Director Shufflebean in the Department of Water Supply, and Director Angawa in environmental management, and Director Molina in the Public Works Division. I think the new administration is off to a good start. In order for us to execute our capital improvement projects, we need to have the legislative branch who does the funding and the administrative branch work collaboratively, and I think that that's what we're doing and what we'll continue to do. I'll be having monthly meetings with the directors to basically get updates and be able to monitor, encourage, and promote the capital improvement projects that the council has budgeted, and see them to fruition over the next several years.
Well, I'm really excited to hear this because it sounds. I know we've had others in this role, but it sounds like you've taken a very proactive approach in meeting with the different directors. And I love how you said monitor, encourage, and promote. You know, as they're working to manage these projects and make sure that they're moving forward. We often see projects from one budget session into the next budget session, and we find something that they didn't move forward. So I love that you're actively tracking this and keeping this front and center. So what are you finding in doing this work and meeting with these directors? What are some of the major projects that you folks are looking at? And how do you see this kind of tracking working moving forward? What kinds of results are you even seeing in the early months that I think might be different from what we've seen before?
Some major infrastructure projects that the county has underway is the public-private partnership that the Mayor Victorino proposed, and I believe Mayor Beeson will be continuing with. The council will soon be hearing, which is with a public-private partnership with Wailuku Country Town. The environmental management for the wastewater reclamation division have plans for and are moving forward with a Central Maui wastewater treatment plant, which will eventually eliminate the Kihei wastewater treatment plant that has been, it's not a very desired location because of tsunami and whatnot by Kanaha Pond. So that's the one big thing, is the finishing the design, beginning of the construction of the Central Maui wastewater plant that is going to be keystone for the Waikapu Country Town development. The other aspect of that public-private partnership is the Waiale Road extension, and the county is basically stepped up to pay for the infrastructure to enable more affordable housing to be built. So the agreement with Wailuku Country Town's developer is the county will pay for and hopefully will be able to expedite the Waiale Road extension as well as the Central Maui sewage treatment plant. And in exchange for that, they're going to give 213 more affordable home units to the 500 workforce units. And it's not going to increase the density, but they're basically having more affordable and workforce housing units in exchange for the county taking on the financial responsibility for the infrastructure improvements. So I'm really excited about that, Pam. I think, you and I and other people in the community have discussed the necessity and the practicality of our local government and our state government stepping up and funding the major infrastructure required for developers to build housing. And I'm really excited about this. This is a very substantial thing that is happening, and I'm glad to be part of it.
I'm so glad you're a part of it, and I'm so glad that we have, as you point out, a very substantial project. I know it took a lot under the Victorino administration to bring this together between the county and the state and working with the developer. But we've long heard, you and I, in housing forums, that if the county and state can assist with the infrastructure, the developers can take that cost off and don't have to keep passing it on, and so we can make homes more affordable. And so to find out that we're going to get 213 affordable homes out of this and 500 workforce homes, this is, it's tremendous. It's something we desperately need. And we need to remember that given the shortage that we have, we still need a lot more. But this is a great model. What is the timing of this project, and when do you see that it's going to be complete? And maybe you could talk about the different components, because there's going to be the roadway component, and then there's going to be, of course, the wastewater treatment plant.
That was my question with the developers, and I was really glad to hear that the county has allocated 100,000 gallons a day of allocation for the wastewater, so that they'll be able to start sooner than later with the housing units, and they won't have to wait for the entire new wastewater facility to be constructed. The wastewater facility from start to finish, the construction is probably going to take 6 years. Don't quote me on that, but I want the community to put in perspective. These major infrastructure projects take time, and that's something that, if I can weigh in on this, reaching out to everybody who's listening, we in the community have an integral part to play in our community building homes. And foundationally, what we need is for the infrastructure to be reviewed and approved promptly. And, we have environmental assessments, environmental impact statements, land use commission hearings, a variety of hearings, and that people we don't want to cut corners. We're not trying to eliminate any roles. But if people can be supportive and encouraging through this process, they can probably shave a couple of years off it. And if you shave a couple of years off it, you're going to save millions of dollars. Because I think, as you know, and many of the business people in the community know, nothing gets cheaper with time. And it's not just inflation. It's if you delay a project, major infrastructure project, for 2 years, you're just multiplying the cost. So we all have an opportunity to contribute, Pam.
Absolutely. That's very well put, Tom. And really, we listen to people testifying over and over again, and there's so much community support for affordable or attainable, however we want to call it. What we want is to get people in housing and have housing our local residents can afford, and create these opportunities for our generations that are going to follow us, are caking now, and our grandchildren in the future. But we want to make sure that we have a Maui that supports Maui residents and long-term growth, and growth in a way that is sustainable. And but we have to have critical infrastructure. And so, often we see people who maybe don't understand the need for some of these things, or the need for the county to invest. But when the county and state have historically invested in infrastructure, years past, we saw more housing.
May I weigh in on one aspect of what I would consider infrastructure that people normally wouldn't think about as infrastructure?
Absolutely.
And that is the various departments being fully staffed. And currently there are, I think, 700 vacancies in the Maui County and several hundred also in the state. And I just want to, for anybody who's looking for a job, the departments, the county and state offer very generous vacation, sick leave, and retirement. The pay isn't as competitive with the private sector, but as far as for a career, and that's the benefit of the public sector, is getting people who will work there for their entire career for institutional knowledge and continuity of intent in our community. But right now, as you may have heard from your members, building permits are very problematic. And Public Works is one of the departments that we work with the administration to oversee to some extent. The administration is doing a comprehensive review of the building permit process, and I'm very hopeful in their success. As you know, this has been an ongoing issue for years. The departments are short-staffed, and it's very challenging. So without me being long-winded, I want people to know that there's a lot of jobs available in the county, and infrastructure is basically departments being fully staffed and capable of reviewing projects and reviewing permits. So although I think there's a lot of opportunity and need to review the permit process as far as, can we eliminate overlapping requirements? Can we review how effective and efficient the process is? It's not going to get better without us also supporting the departments, getting them fully staffed, and working together.
I appreciate that. Yes, that is a perspective many people don't recognize as one of those cogs that can be problematic if we don't fix it. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, and it is important. And so, what are some of the key positions that are open?
From soup to nuts. If you go to Department of Personnel Services for the County of Maui, manages the hiring. And if you go to the County of Maui website, you can basically, Google, and I'm not familiar exactly with what link to go to, but they post them online. I believe I heard recently that they're going to have a job fair, and I had the opportunity to go to the commencement ceremony at UHMC with the other council members and the mayor. And when the mayor gave his speech, he let everybody know that, okay, now that you graduated, you don't have to leave the island because we have a lot of jobs at the county. He did a really good job advocating and come work for the county of Maui. And it was kind of cute because Sylvia Luke, the lieutenant governor, was like, oh, okay, well, I was going to say the same thing because we want you to come work for the state. So it was really a great commencement ceremony. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about being going through the budget process was the community outreach when we met in the various communities for budget. And I was just inspired and amazed at our youth, the young people who standing up and, articulate and motivated and excited about STEM and just school in general. So if we could build the houses and we can refine our government so people feel that it's a little more user-friendly, the people in government feel more appreciated, we have a whole pipeline of Maui youth who can help us be our local community that we strive to be.
Well said. Very well said. So, one last thing I'd just kind of love to hear your perspective on is what are some of the new things that you've learned or things that surprised you moving into this new role as a council member?
So many. One thing is being a council member, and I wasn't previously aware at all of the Office of Council Services. And the county council, the Office of Council Services, is really a well-run, very talented group of people who basically make the county council work. They do a tremendous amount of research for us, and I'm really glad to be part of the council, not only because the opportunity and the responsibility to represent people in the community, but also to work with the people in the legislative branch with this wealth of experience, with really good attitude and kind heart and spirit. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that I learned being a council member is basically how the county council works, how well it works, and I'm grateful to be part of it.
Well, we are grateful to have you there. We know that you're bringing a wealth of experience to this important area, and you have been doing an awesome job. We've been no surprise for the public. The chamber endorsed Tom, and I happen to through actually for many years I've known Tom even before we began the construction industry of Maui, which you spearheaded was part of that team to spearhead. Bringing the construction industry voice back, and we're thrilled to have them as the trade council of the chamber. But you've been a leader in the industry and a champion for Maui and appropriate and sustainable growth for a very long time, and we're thrilled to have you as our county council member representing South Maui.
Well, thank you for your kind words. I'm grateful to the community for this opportunity. I'm going to strive hard to be worthy of their continued support, so that I can work with the administrations and get the CIP projects done. Capital improvement takes a number of years, so hopefully I'll be a council member for the next 10 years.
You're right. Well, I love the tracking that you're doing. I love how you're working with the administration and the departments. That's excellent. And it's that kind of support that they need and the council needs in hearing where the updates are. I think that's a phenomenal approach. So, Tom, thank you for all that you're doing. We truly appreciate you.
All right. Well, aloha. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your radio audience. Maui no ko'oi. I hope everybody has a great day. And I look forward to talking story with you soon.
Mahalo. It's our pleasure. We're going to have you on again soon. Thank you so much, and aloha. And then we're going to take a quick minute from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
Mokulele Airlines operates the largest commuter airline hub in the country, right here in Kahului. Fly Mokulele from Kahului to Molokai, Lanai, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and now Hilo. Mokulele also operates the only flights between Kapalua and Honolulu. There is never a middle seat on Mokulele, and every seat has a window and aisle. Visit mokuleleairlines.com and take your next flight from the newly renovated Mokulele Terminal.
Tell you a little bit about Susie Thieman, who is the Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific. Susie previously co-founded and served as the publisher of the Downtown Planet. It was a free weekly newspaper serving downtown Honolulu, and she did this for 25 years. And then she became the CEO of MEO, Maui Economic Opportunities Business Development Corporation, for 8 years, serving small businesses and helping them get started and funded. Her recent volunteer activities include serving as vice chair of the board of directors of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Native Hawaiian Revolving Loan Fund Program, and she's been on the board for 6 years. I'm always fascinated because I always learn something new about Susie, so I didn't know that. And she has been, for a very long time, the host of the Maui Nonprofit Notes, which is an hour-long weekly radio show of the Maui Nonprofit Directors Association, and is a vice chair and founding member of the Maui Public Arts Corporation. So, Susie, aloha and good morning.
Good morning, Pam. How you doing today?
I am excellent. How are you?
Oh, hey, it's a beautiful morning, and I love seeing the sun.
Oh, me too. A little gray the other day, but...
Yeah, no, and I'll explain that in just a minute.
Oh, good. Well, we are excited to have you on the show as always, and I'm reading an updated bio, and I'm like, wow, I had no idea that you were serving on the Office of Hawaiian Affairs Native Hawaiian Revolving Loan Fund Program. That's tremendous.
That was quite an experience. Yes, it's always good to kind of go out of your your central zone, and learn more about other people and other ethnic groups and how they think and how they react, and how they try to help their people.
Right.
That's the business all of us nonprofits are in, and I'm glad to have had that experience. Yes.
Yeah. We could do a whole other show on that, but one day we'll talk about that because you're right. I mean, in the nonprofit world, we're constantly looking at, right, how we help others and how do they think and what are their needs that are different from what we currently understand. And we learn and we work through and address solutions, which is something you do all the time through Lokahi Pacific. So what's new at Lokahi Pacific?
Well, I don't know if this comes under the heading of new because it's been 22 months in the making, but the reason I'm having awe here over the sun is that this week we are going to be starting our roof renovation and solar installation.
So the sun is important, so it's not raining while you're doing these renovations.
Oh, gosh, I tell you, I'm so tired of seeing tarps and panels taken off of the ceiling to check where the leak is, and I mean, it was kind of a rush when we put in that application 22 months ago, and luckily we've had minimal rains. We haven't had serious downpours, the wind and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So it's we've made it. I'm going to say we've made it through it, but we're not quite there yet. They're going to start on Friday, and I don't know if you saw the weather news last night, but they're talking about rain coming in on Saturday.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that the weather report is for the western part of the state and not the eastern part.
We're all going to be praying for you, Susie.
Thank you. It was really interesting to try to do something a little different in Wailuku town. The Wailuku Redevelopment Agency, which is charged with maintaining the character of the town, which I love.
Yeah.
But sometimes, today's a different world than 1950, 1960. We've been given the, edict by the state to become solar or more energy efficient by 2040?
Right.
Which means we've got to do something, and we can't just keep using oil. And Hawaiian Electric tells us the same thing. They've got problems with trying to maintain their generators now because of age.
Right.
And so it became important to us to do this, but we want to do it right. And so we had to make a presentation to the Wailuku Redevelopment Agency to show them that we aren't going to have just a wall of solar panels facing the street for everybody to kind of look at and go, oh my gosh, what's that? That our building would maintain its character and our parking lot would be free of anything. So it was really a challenge. And part of the challenge became just actually getting in front of the agency, because they were short-handed as far as commissioners. They're allowed 5 commissioners, and during the time we were trying to make a presentation, they only had 3.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently there was an issue with trying to get volunteers for that commission, and so the council couldn't approve anybody to go on it. So the issues were like, not having a quorum, vacations. We were delayed about 4 months in making our presentation just for that.
Wow.
So, people talk about the planning department not getting, permits out. Well, this one had the extra problem going for it. But we did make our presentation. We made our case for them. And I'm hopeful that we have introduced now to the Wailuku Redevelopment Agency how people can do solar and stay in tune with what needs to be done for all of us, and still keep the look of Wailuku Town. So hopefully we've opened the door to the next organization or owner who wants to put solar on their roof.
I think that's tremendous. And I'm glad that you're bringing this up, because sometimes, as we hear, okay, well, this is 22 months in the making. What was going on? So I appreciate you sharing. Has the Wailuku Redevelopment Agency, now, do they have enough people to serve? Are they still looking for commissioners? We seem to be doing a lot of promoting of open opportunities this morning. So do we need more commissioners?
Right. As a matter of fact, one of the commissioners that voted on our situation, his term expired, so he was off. But they did name somebody new, so there's still just 3. It's a tough one. I mean, you got to love Wailuku. I mean, why would you give your time if it's not part of your life?
Yes.
And so maybe therein lies the issue, whether you live in Wailuku or you have a business in Wailuku. If you want to keep Wailuku, offer to serve. Step up. It's not that. I mean, it's a once-a-month meeting for about an hour and a half at the most. I think that's what ours ran because of our presentation and all the questions that were asked. But it's you just have to be up on what are the rules, and there you go. I mean, I found it interesting when we sat at the meeting.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating. So for those listening, if you are in business, if you are retired, I know we have a lot of retired business people living in Wailuku who had their business in Wailuku and care deeply about Wailuku. If you're a community member and just cherish the area, please serve. Please find out about the Wailuku Redevelopment Agency. And I also am thrilled, Susie, that, as you say, I mean, when we have these historic areas and we have these towns that we really want to protect the look and keep the integrity of the town, it's tough when you're having to do something new with modernization. And I know that you and your team, from the houses you create even to this roofing project, carefully consider all of these elements. So I love that, as you point out, you're a project that has been approved, which is a new vehicle for opening those doors so that others can do solar in a way. You've given them a new model so they can do it in a way that hopefully, again, protects, as we move forward, the integrity of the town by doing it right and shows them that it can be done, because we are going to need to do that. We do live in an island state, and sustainability is critical. So I love that you've been very thoughtful in your approach, and also not only are you looking at how to do it for your building, but also how the community can benefit from having that model.
Right. We're Lokahi, right?
Yes, you are.
The other thing I'd like to bring up is I'm really excited about Council Chair Alice Lee's resolution urging the Department of Housing and Human Concerns to create and implement a pilot Ohana assistance program. Have you heard anything about this?
I was just starting to hear about it the other day, but yes, please go ahead and share.
Okay, well, what we're looking at is, the First-Time Homebuyers Fund, which was established quite a while ago and that the county has been managing, has money, but it doesn't have takers. And as you and I know, the problem is there are buyers, but there are no houses for first-time home buyers. And so when the money is just piling up, you sit there and you go, wait a minute, there must be a good use for this. Another way that we can help these folks. And so what they're looking at is turning that part of that fund into an Ohana assistance program. And what it would do is allow grants of up to $50,000 for longtime property owners to build Ohanas that must be rented for permanent long-term occupancy at affordable or workforce rates. This can be administered by DHHC directly or through a grantee, like a nonprofit, and at least in the first year to get this off the ground and kind of just to see if it's going to work. I mean, to me, it sounds like a fabulous idea. And when she presented her resolution during the budget sessions, the council members seemed to like it, but they just needed more information. It was kind of a last-minute entry there. And so next week, when the full council has the first reading of the budget, this resolution will come back up and will be discussed, hopefully thoroughly, and we can maybe get this moving. It's just, there's a couple of pieces that really make it, I think, exciting. It's exciting to me because, as you said, we build homes and we take great care in what we do and make sure that it's the right type of home, the right pricing, etc. So this one is, we're looking at people who are longtime owners. They can't just go buy a piece of property and put this up. Some recommendations have said they must own them for 10 years or longer, and that'll all come out as they work, as this a committee will be set up to work on this program if it passes through the council. And the idea is to build, if you've got a lot like 7,500 square feet, you can put up an Ohana or two Ohanas on larger lots. That was something that happened back in 2018 when the Ohana bill changed the way the Ohanas could be handled. The nice thing about this $50,000 is that it can be used right starting from scratch with the plans, the layout, and everything from driveways to garages to small, super small houses, tiny homes to regular sized homes. I think the thing that excites me about it is the potential for this. $50,000 is a great start. Some people could conceivably do a tiny home for $50,000, but in most cases, it's going to take a little more than that, maybe a lot more, depending on what you're going to build. But you're working through the process, and the $50,000, I mean, that's, if it's a down payment on the whole project, great. If you can finance the rest, and all these pieces have to be put together before anybody gets any money. Yeah. And they have to commit to it being an affordable, like I said, for an affordable or workforce rates. We're looking at what happens if they sell it. What happens? Do they have to pay the money back? Because we obviously have increased the value of the property. And then, we're also looking at things that some lots may not be able to benefit from the bill. Maybe they already have an Ohana. They don't have room for additional parking. There's all kinds of things that we have to consider in this thing. But I'm really looking forward to working with Council Chair Lee's office and the committee that this gets handed off to try to get this thing going, because I just see it as a win-win for rentals.
Absolutely. I think, and you've been such a great leader on housing issues, and we too are, and I appreciate you explaining this because even you've shared more than some of the things that I had heard, which is very helpful to me as well this morning. But we want to see this, and I've long said, if we can allow more cottages on existing homes and allow more farm worker housing and cottages in our agricultural areas where we do have big land areas, we can take care of so many needs very early on. But I love that they're saying, look, to get some of this funds, there's a process, and you have to also make a commitment. And it sounds like something that's a wonderful process. But I do agree. I know we can do some tiny homes. But some of the tiny homes are real tiny homes, and then there's some container homes that are tiny homes that you can get for $50K. So I think I love that we're at the beginning, and I think maybe expanding that amount a little bit would be helpful too.
It's going to be a process. We understand that, and we've come. Oh gosh, I think I've been working with them maybe for 6 months or so. Just getting some background information and who all it's going to take, and how do you follow the process to make sure they're really doing what they said they were going to do.
Right.
How do you divvy out the money? You don't just hand them a check. We all learned that the hard way many years ago. So it's I don't know. It's going to be a very well thought out process, and I'm looking forward to the comments at the council meeting next Tuesday when this is under discussion. But I see all the potential in the world for it.
I agree. Very exciting. Very exciting. So I know you are somebody who's always working through both opportunities like this and trying to move these opportunities forward in the best way. And as you said, just handing out the check, we've learned some lessons on that, right? We need some checks and balances. So what are some of the challenges that you've seen or have experienced at Lokahi on kind of a governmental level, national, state, county level?
Oh, you mean talking about checks? That's
yes, when it all comes down to money and getting things moving expeditiously forward.
I listened to your conversation with Tom Cook, Council Member Tom Cook, earlier, and he hit it on the mark when he said, think about government service. It's the shortage of employees over there has really made it tough. I know at the nonprofit directors meeting it was just last week, several of us were talking about the slowdown in payments. And I don't think that because whenever there's a transition, there's always a period where there's new people involved who don't understand the importance of moving money.
Yeah.
And maybe don't even understand the importance to the public of the nonprofits being able to do the things they do without money worries.
Right.
And you and I as business people, we learned that a long time ago, that if you have to spend too much of your time worrying about how you're going to pay for something, you don't do the best job of doing your job.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what we were hearing the other day. There were lots of retirements. There were lots of changes, people moving from one department to another. There were new people coming in. Somebody even commented about they got an email from one department saying, your grant has been transferred to our department. Please give us more information on your, who to talk to and this and that.
Right.
Didn't say what the grant was or the grant number or anything in that email. And so I responded and I said, okay, thank you for letting us know, but I have 3 grants that fit in your description. Right. And I said, could you please tell me which one got transferred to you? I haven't gotten anything back.
My goodness.
I listed the 3 grants.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sitting here, 2 months later, I don't know what grant is now in that department.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that person is still there. I didn't know the name. It looked like it maybe was a new hire. And somebody just said, here, notify these people.
Yeah.
Or something. And those are the kinds of things, when they start falling through the cracks, those of us who are responsible for those grants get concerned as to what else is going on.
Yeah.
And falling in the cracks. And that's kind of what I think has happened with somebody commented that there were some papers left on the desk of somebody who took leave that dated back to February that hadn't been processed. And I'm thinking, this is May.
Yeah.
How could so
it's really important that, it's one of those things that has been, you and I know that we've often heard when somebody's on vacation or took leave, and this is in many departments at the county, we've often heard, well, it waits till they get back. And we always say, in the nonprofit world and the business world, we can't let it wait till somebody else gets handed off, right? We don't just let it sit till we come back from whatever it is, whether it's a medical leave or vacation or what have you. And if it's medical, worse, because you don't know how long it might take. But in the business world, it doesn't sit. It gets passed on. The responsibility is transferred in the interim while somebody continues to move it forward. I know and I'm sure you've probably had to do this as well, and it was a challenge with granting under the last administration with grants that came really late. So some of the expenditures the money had to be spent up front to accomplish the job, and we're having to redo invoices because of the timing of the spending. We got the grant so late that we now have to redo money and reallocate everything to make sure that everything matches up with the grant period. Have you had that challenge as well?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Several nonprofits have been having to, because the grants were received so late for the projects, they had to spend their own money up front. And then the dates don't match up with actually when the grant was awarded. So people are having to reallocate a lot of money and figure that out.
Wow.
So
and that's double effort for the nonprofit.
That's right.
Also short-staffed, most likely, because there is a shortage of employees.
Yeah, it's been it's been an interesting challenge.
Yeah, I feel like I missed a page or something in my education where I don't know how you can go without working.
However that works, somebody better tell me, because I haven't figured that out either.
I don't know. I can't imagine what I would do with a day without working and working as hard and as smart as I can for the good of the organization I work for, as well as myself. I take pride in what I do.
Yeah, me too. But I am hearing, and even in business, things are really snowballing right now. The worker shortages is really compromising customer service and people's ability to keep the ball moving and get things done. You and I are crazy people because we'll work day and night to get it done. Compromise our health a little bit, not sleep. But I think that this is, as you point out, we've got to look at where we've got those hiccups and address process and find other ways to kind of keep it moving forward. But the money issue is critical when you're talking about grants, because we're tasked with getting the work done in a certain period of time. The grant period doesn't change. We need the flow of money to move forward with the services. And so it becomes a phenomenal problem if it's not addressed quickly.
Right. And I sometimes wonder if I guess I probably think too hard about it. I don't think there's a lot of thought given to whether a check goes out this week or next week.
Yeah.
For me, it's very important. If I owe somebody money and I say I'm going to spend it or send it on a certain date, or the routine would be the process. How long does it take? Does it take 2 weeks to process it? Okay, that's fine. I think that's totally acceptable. Does it take 3 weeks? Does it take 4 weeks? Where does it get stuck? And I think that's the thing that bothers me. And I guess maybe, I don't know, do I want to sit down and talk with somebody and say, hey, can we look at the system and see how it can be improved?
Yeah.
Is there some sort of a training class that maybe everybody who's in this position in each department can learn how to process quicker or more efficiently? I don't know. It's like I want to help, but I don't know how.
I hear you. Well, I think it starts by doing what you did, which is raising the flag. And let's work on that, because that is something that needs to critically get solved. It's an important
like I say, every time there's no change in administration, I understand there's new directors, there's new staff, there's retirements, there's whatever. But we're into May.
Right.
I would like to see some of these things get settled and become routine rather than panic.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I'm in there with you. Let's kind of raise the flag and see what we can do to learn more. Susie, we've got another guest, so I hate to end it here, but I know we also, and I want to circle back. So can we invite you on again really soon so we can touch on housing?
Sure.
And then we'll have more information after next Tuesday on this other program as well.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Well, bless you for coming on today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pam. Have a good day.
I will. You too. Aloha. Okay, we've got another guest scheduled, and it is Tracie Butterfield. She is the owner and CEO of Butterfield Testing Solutions. So Tracie is a third-party administrator and she'll explain that, a third-party administrator of drug and alcohol testing programs for employers. And, we're all talking about workforce, and we're all talking about safety and sustainability. So, they provide an amazing service, and her Maui team has served clients like Goodfellow Brothers and Sail Trilogy over the last couple of years. Tracie and her family lived on the Big Island for several years, but she still visits the islands and comes often, and her son is an officer in the U.S. Marine Corps stationed at Kaneohe Bay on Oahu. And Tracie has been helping businesses through her business, and has a knack for thinking outside of the box to come up with solutions that can serve unique needs for her clients. So no matter what part of the country they live in, she's excited to be expanding her services here in Maui and working with many of our larger companies to help. Gary, is Tracie on?
Tracie is on.
Fantastic. Good morning, Tracie. How are you?
Oh, good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to have you on. Can you tell us a little bit about Butterfield's Testing Solutions?
Yeah, of course. I would love to. So we are a full-service third-party administrator of drug and alcohol programs for employers. And what makes us unique is that we have a great offering of on-site collections as well. So we've been serving companies on Maui like Goodfellow Brothers, Sail Trilogy, and we have local Native Hawaiians on our team there, and we are able to go site to site and take care of collecting the urine samples. But what we do for them as well is we manage their whole program. We have kind of a unique scenario where we're not super small, but we're not too large either. So we can kind of customize for all employers what their needs are to fit their culture. And so we offer, drug and alcohol testing. We offer audiograms, which are hearing tests that OSHA requires for those that are providing hearing protection for their employees. We also offer respiratory fit testing, which was really popular during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying yes, that was a big issue.
Yeah. And then one of the building blocks to our program is our reasonable suspicion supervisor training. So I will be coming out to Hawaii, and I'm going to be meeting with several different companies where I will teach them how to recognize impairment, document what they see, take that whole scenario through to getting the drug test for anybody who might have, reasonable suspicion to be tested. There's a legal way to do that, and I bring that sort of training in a fun way. I bring my drunk goggles, and we have a good time with it.
Well, that's, it's the first time I've heard somebody talk about reasonable suspicion training and understanding that there is a legal way to do it. And again, you often see employers have concerns for their employees and have concerns for an employee's safety if they feel that there might be a challenge, but they're worried about how to bring that up. So when are you doing that program on Maui?
What was that?
When are you going to be doing that program on Maui?
So I'm still setting the dates. I know that I've been invited to come out and speak in the first part of October by Craig Tanaka invited me out. And we are just trying to fit the right couple of weeks for, 4 seasons. We're going to come out and do some training for 4 seasons and some other of the resorts out there. So that'll be really fun.
Well, keep us posted when you're doing that because, we'd love to connect you with other employers that may have a need for those services as well. So we'd love to make that
would be great.
match.
I mean, the one thing that I think is important is just kind of educating people on what's happening out there in the world of, drugs. There's so many concerning things with fentanyl and, veterinary tranquilizers like xylazine. And there's all these things that are happening. And, employers just need to be aware if they don't have a regular random drug testing program going, they at least need to know how to recognize impairment so they can do some testing.
Okay, Pam, we're under 1 minute, Pam.
Okay, all right. Well, so Tracie, I'm sorry we've run short today, but if people are looking for you, we'll have them reach out to you through the Chamber of Commerce. You can go to our website, mauichamber.com. This is an important area, and we'll be working with Tracie to help educate the public on when that training opportunity might be. We want to thank everybody for joining us for Business Matters, sponsored by Mokulele Airlines, and wish you a wonderful week of blessings and aloha, and we hope you'll join us again next Tuesday. Have a beautiful Maui day.